The widow of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny speaks out against Vladimir Putin following the death of her husband. And Capital One says it's planning to acquire Discover for $35 billion. The Morning Rundown starts now.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world. This is the Morning Rundown.
Today is Tuesday, February 20th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kara Rucker. Yulia Navalny, the widow of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, has vowed to continue her husband's mission against Vladimir Putin 3 days after it was announced her husband had died suddenly inside an Arctic prison at the age of 47. While Russian authorities claimed Alexei felt unwell before losing consciousness, in a video message posted to YouTube on Monday, Yulia accused the Kremlin of poisoning her husband and holding onto his body to cover up the murder. Yulia, who lives in exile outside Russia, says her husband loved their country more than anything in the world. That's why he returned to Russia following a poisoning attempt in 2020.
I will continue Alexei Navalny's work, continue to fight for our country. I urge you to stand next to me, to share not only my grief and endless pain, which has enveloped us and does not let us go. I ask you to share the rage with me. Rage, anger, hatred towards those who dared kill our future. I address you with Alexei's own words, in which he believed very much. It is not shameful to do little. It is shameful to do nothing.
Since Friday, there are reports of 400 people being detained in Russia for mourning the death of Alexei Navalny. On Monday, President Joe Biden said the U.S. is considering additional sanctions against Russia. Biden has also blamed Putin for Alexei Navalny's death. The United States has proposed a United Nations Security Council draft resolution calling for a temporary ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war and opposing a major ground offensive in the town of Rafah by Israeli forces. According to the draft, the U.S. wants a temporary ceasefire, the release of all hostages being held by Hamas, and easy access for humanitarian aid into Gaza. The U.S. adding Israel's planned ground offensive in Rafah would harm civilians who have been displaced during the fighting. The U.S. draft comes as the Council is set to vote today on a draft proposed by Algeria, demanding an immediate ceasefire. The U.S. has vowed to veto that proposal, saying it could jeopardize ongoing talks for a pause in war. The widow of the former president of Haiti has been charged in connection with his murder. Jovenel Moïse was shot dead in July of 2021 when armed suspects broke into his bedroom, killing him and injuring his wife, Martine. But now a judge says Martine was an accomplice in the killing. She is among 51 people to be indicted. According to the indictment, Martine conspired with the former prime minister to kill her husband. A lawyer for Martine told the New York Times before the charges were announced that she was a victim and remains in hiding. Some argue the charges are a result of politics, accusing the current prime minister of going after his critics. A separate U.S. investigation into the murder continues in Miami, where 11 men have been charged. A major credit card company could soon have a new owner. Capital One has announced it plans to buy Discover Financial for $35 billion. The deal will merge two of the nation's largest lenders and credit card issuers, creating the sixth largest U.S. bank. Capital One says the acquisition would allow both companies to improve and expand their payment networks. If approved, Capital One shareholders would own 60% of the new company. Discover shareholders would own the remaining 40%. The transaction is expected to close between late 2024 and early 2025. In a story that has waited 160 years to be told, a new report details a link between President Joe Biden and former President Abraham Lincoln. As first reported by the Washington Post, Lincoln pardoned a Union Army civilian employee by the name of Moses J. Robinette, President Biden's great-great-grandfather. Records discovered by the National Archives detail a March 21, 1864 fight between Robinette and and another Union Army civilian employee. Robinette was charged with attempted murder following the fight. After being sentenced to 2 years of hard labor, Lincoln was petitioned to overturn the conviction by Army officers, saying Robinette was acting in self-defense. Lincoln pardoned Biden's ancestor on September 1st of 1864. Finally this morning, a rain delay did not dampen the excitement for William Byron winning the 2024 Daytona 500 on Monday, helping to kick off Hendrick Motorsports' 40th season in style. This was the race team's 9th Daytona 500 victory and Byron's 11th career Cup Series win. The 26-year-old Charlotte native calling it an awesome win. These are your top stories for this Tuesday. Be sure to visit san.com/rundown to sign up for our daily newsletter. Unbiased, straight facts, that's Straight Arrow News. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, I'm Kara Rucker. Have a great day.